Wow, all right. So it's the 15th of October. It's been quite an adventure. There's been a lot going on and then not a lot going on. So there hasn't been too much of a rush on my personal agenda. It's been a lot of things with my partner, in particular her mother, and just health issues. And so my partner is back and forth in between two households. It's roughly about a 30-minute drive either way. Maybe more closer to 40-minute drive either way. And she just gets no downtime. So, it's where can I help to, take care of the house, take care of the lawn, do the honeydew list sort of thing, if you will. And I don't mind. It gives me time to do things of this nature. It's been uh, several weeks since I've really produced any sort of content, any sort of video, especially. It's been more my voice messaging right now. I'm in the process of just raising all of my communication from just emotionless texts to voice messages. So much easier, so much faster, at least to me. Obviously, story time. I like to talk, and it's easier to just get across so many more things. The pauses, the inflection, and then actually hearing your friend's voice, someone that you hadn't heard from in a long time, just pop up out of nowhere. It can really kind of, and help in so many different ways. Where I bring that up also is I am like, yeah, I'm a few weeks in now to the 5th year anniversary of when I did the Devil Dog roll call, like when I started it. At this point in time, if I remember correctly, because I had my diary, the notebook that I took with me, I had that out earlier, and I've been calling, through mainly through like Facebook Messenger, and just been leaving voice notes to my Marines that I hadn't spoken to, even on Facebook in several years, and just asking them, hey, how are you going? How are things? What's new with you in the past 5 years? There's some that I have caught up with, for one reason or another, but just sometimes life happens and you get caught up in your day to day, and if you don't sit and reflect it on the people that were close to you at any given time, you don't have a chance to be like, all right, well, maybe that person's been on my mind because I need to reach out to them. I know in a previous video I had said something. I want to say it was one that was last year, um, and it was, the in particular part of that video was me bringing up that I had seen something then that was, when I stopped initiating the phone calls, my phone stopped ringing. I think it might have been texts or something like that, but it was something that hit home with me because I wasn't doing my part, as I feel. Like I said, like that day-to-day life you can get caught up and go on, about your business. But for those that don't have the time, the time freedom to sit and contemplate, what their next move is, where they've come from, where are they, where do they want to go, they don't have that time freedom to sit and be like, okay, like this person's been on my mind for whatever reason, maybe I should reach out to them, and they don't. People just stop there and they're like, oh yeah, I was thinking about them, but just leaving a little voice note and just being like, hey, I love you, I miss you, I hadn't talked to you in forever, and you just popped up across my mind. there might be something going on in their life that having that connection with them from the past, if there is such a thing, right? Going in that philosophical standpoint, is, there's a piece of you that's reaching out. If they are a part of you and you are in them, we are one at some point above, then, reach out and say, hey, are you doing all right? Are you thinking about hurting yourself? Or are you thinking about hurting others? Oftentimes, you just, and you may not be like truthful on it, but you might have more homicidal thoughts than suicidal thoughts. Just that might be the language that comes out. And that's one of the things that I want to help break, is these different generational traumas or these different situational traumas. Things, like us, veterans and stuff, that we chose to go through, this military or that one or whatever. And, and so we chose to take that on and be like, yes, I'm going to have some sort of break. And, I'm going to be molded in this, that, and the other. And depending on what branch depends on, how molded you really get. And then within those branches, it depends on like what your service really was and what you did and where you went. That, those experiences that strip away a lot of things and add on a lot of things, and so where I'm at now is it's about trying to get people past some of that conditioning, get them down to their true core, down to, just being them, being who they feel that they are, not who their mother thinks or their kids or their bosses, their mates or whatever. Like, I feel that I'm here to be able to hold that space for people and be like, okay, here's the black and white of, this in particular snapshot. We'll say like your birth natal chart. So I use, that's what I call personality profiling, is I'll use, your round chart, the radix of your birth time, place, and date. So if you email me with those three things, I'll be able to hit you back with, your astrology, your birth natal chart. And I really want to stress at this point that I use sidereal astrology. The things that you'll see when you go to, even doing like your own looking stuff up, that will be tropical Western astrology. There's this big debacle that happened, thousands of years ago. And it basically is, tropical Western astrology says, hey, at this point, March 21st, that's going to be the start of Aries. It's going to be this circular, cyclical, never changing, always this, always that. And, we're going to do our astrology based off of that. Totally fine. When you look up Aries, it means the same thing. The 12th house means the same thing. But where sidereal astrology is different is it actually takes into account this massive alteration. It's a wobble that the Earth has that takes roughly just under 26,000 years to complete. It's called the precession of equinoxes. And that takes into account that, things change, that the only constant is change, that it's not a fixed circle, that it's more of a spiral. And so as of, I want to say it's 2010, it's a 24-degree change between what Western tropical astrology says and sidereal astrology says. So me being born May 12th, I was always raised and thought myself to be Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign. But when you look up sidereal dates and you look up that change that goes back, everything shifts back a whole set of glyphs. So I'm actually an Aries, which is cardinal fire. And it was really something that kind of shattered a paradigm. And it was like, I'm not this, I'm not that, blah, 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 but then I really started to look at, well, I'm not this Taurus. I of course, have these Venusian values, Venus, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. And so, it's about love and it's about beauty and, partnerships, and who isn't about that? But when I really got down to, the fact that my sun, according to Sidereal astrology, is an Aries, I really started seeing that more fiery dynamic. I always equated it to being, because I thought that I was close to the cusp, even though I wasn't, I could be like, oh, okay, well, this is like magma, it's like earth, but fire mixed in also, but it's the other way around, that it's more of a grounded kind of fire that I see, and that's just the sun sign. All the things that are in the sky have a place on your chart. Just depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. So I have this offer to anybody that's out there, help sharpen my skills, help get some answers for you. If you want to go to personalityprofileonline and send me a message with your time, date, and place of birth, we can get started there. In a grand scheme of things, I would like to have returning clients, because you have the constant, the everyday, what's called the transits. So if you first start out with your natal chart, then you can look at what's called a progressed chart, which is where your signs are at now, or at a specific point in time. If you wanted to be like, hey, this was the date of my marriage, or this was the date of my divorce, or I had this big event that happened, what was happening that date. You can also look at progression, a further progression, a more future progression, and see, hey, my planets are meant to be according to these calculations from the past, tracking that to the future. This is where it's supposed to be, so you can kind of give yourself a heads up. There's many different approaches to it all that you can really have. And then there's also tarot readings that I've been doing for several years. I'm no longer affiliated with this certain company. No ill feelings or anything like that. It just, their focus went a different direction. I didn't really put up too much of a fight saying, hey, I need more allocation this way. I was just kind of letting things peter out. But, I was using their platform. I was using their community. It was just people coming to me for tarot readings or for, astrological personality profilings. And, when I stopped making a fuss about it, it really started to kind of peter out from there. And I was like, all right, well, maybe it's time to strike out on my own and do, my platform. So here's these. I think that this is only like number 3 of these videos, and I really have to keep them cut down. I think the other 2 have been 20 minutes so far. I'm at 13:30 right here, so I'm gonna wrap this one up and just say, I am really kind of looking for like an experiment. If you are someone who has no idea about astrology whatsoever, I offer you to email me your details, and and I'll give you a sidereal reading. And if you are someone who is quite knowledgeable in astrology, and you've never gone down the rabbit hole of Vedic astrology or sidereal astrology, anything outside of tropical Western astrology, I offer you as well to send me your details. I'll do my thing and send you a message back. I would like to start doing more video content than just voice recordings. It was so much easier to do voice recordings in the past, but now I want to start uploading videos and using that to, to sharpen my skills and just get out there, find out what works. So yeah, email me, militant2mystic.com, or personalityprofileonline. And I look forward to hearing from you. All right, aloha, blessed be.